is part of the source of the housing crisis young people staying too long in education. Ray, we'll ask you to expand on your thesis that kids are just spending too long messing about before they get serious about work and property ownership.
Yeah, I suppose I hear this hundreds of times every month. My son or daughter can't buy a house. This is the issue, etc., etc. And you can't say obviously all of college, because obviously 50% of them are professional courses. But there's a lot of courses now that people are doing just for the sake of going to college, and they're coming out after 4 or 5 years and they're not getting a job, Pat, and or if they do get a job, they're still only starting on minimum wage, and they've no chance, because then if they're renting or if they are living, I suppose this thing that obviously that I commented on was from Andrea Gilligan's show, and it was about I think up to 32-year-olds or 34-year-olds still living at home. And my attitude was, I suppose people are now staying in school longer. They're starting 5.5. They're obviously doing their 8 years in primary school. They're doing their 6 years now in secondary school. It used to be 5 years in secondary school, but now they do transition year. And I don't know why they do transition year. Any parent I speak to, they say the kids need a break after doing their junior cert. I don't know if we're setting them up right, if they're going to be stressed out just doing their junior cert. And then they're coming out of secondary school, adults, at 19 and a half. I think 75% of secondary school students now are going into third level education, and they're doing a 4-year degree. They're coming out at 23, 24. They're going travelling. I did it myself. Everyone does it. And they're coming back at, 26 years of age, 27, and they have to then start their career. And they have never worked in their career until they're 26 or 27. So they're starting off miles behind everyone else. They haven't saved any money, and they have to move home. That's the only choice that these poor individuals have. So what I was suggesting is 25 years ago, like I said, about 15 years ago, maybe 2010, obviously the crash happened and everyone went out of the trades because obviously there was a crash, there was no jobs. Either people emigrated or they went back to college and re-educated themselves. And now all of a sudden you have the trades there, which would suit a lot of these people, the 50% of people that aren't the upper 50% of people in the colleges, your professional, like your pharmaceutical, your IT, your doctors, your law, etc. It's the other 50% of people we're talking about. And these people, maybe trades would suit them, or a different working day to day and going to college 1 day a week. So whether it's an electrician or a plumber, go off and do your 4 years. You're earning money from your 18 or 19 years of age. When you're qualified, when you're 22, 23, just say, for example, electricians are starting off anywhere from 50,000 to 65,000. Plumbers, the same type of electrician. So, but they're earning money from their 18 or 19 years of age, and they're able to save money as well. And a lot of people that are buying houses from us, from my company, are either people in the IT sector or that type of or that type of industry, or people there that have trades. They're the people that are buying houses off us at the moment.
All right, let's go to Conor. Conor, what say you? I mean, you are presumably in the generation that is finding it difficult to buy a house.
The first thing I'd say, Pat, is there's a lot of what Ray said there when he elaborated on what he was talking about, as opposed to the short, say, TikTok video he put up, that I actually do fundamentally agree with. I think we need to have an increased emphasis on apprenticeships. We have, number one, a critical skills shortage. I think we need to do something about the sub-minimum wage that apprentices are being paid. And the reason I say that is I know an awful lot of people in their mid to late 20s, people my age, who want to go back and retrain and reskill. And the problem that they have is that they have bills, they have overheads, they may have children and other family and caring commitments, and they need to be able to be paid a rate that would cover the bills that they have to pay. And the fact that apprentices are at the moment being paid a sub-minimum wage, that is a barrier towards them.
But addressing the fundamental thing that people are messing about for too long until their late 20s before they get serious about saving and about getting into property.
I suppose the first thing I'd say is, from my own point of view, like, I went to university, I have a degree, I have a master's. I think, like most people around the country, held down a variety of jobs while I went through college, I did everything from bartending to working in a factory to making sandwiches, you name it, because I had bills to pay the whole way through college, and I don't come from generational wealth. My family are just an ordinary, sort of working class to middle class family. And I think, first of all, if you have a degree, then your earning power is actually €128 more a week on average. And the fact of the matter is, if you look at how much things have changed, you went back 20, 22, 23 years ago. Like, if you were working in a given job, you could go out on your lunch and you could get, say, 100% mortgage, and you could come back after your lunch, mortgage approved, if you were in any type of a semi-okay financial situation. Now, obviously, I'm not advocating for a return to that, but things have tightened up an awful lot. First of all, in terms of access to finance in order to buy a house, we know that house prices have gone up twice as much as incomes in the last 10 years here in Ireland. And we also know that the rental market is a big blocker.
Okay, but again, you're avoiding the fundamental thesis as advanced by Ray, which is that people want to do everything. They want to get a degree, maybe a master's like yourself. Then they want to go traveling. Then they want to do this, that. So by the time they get serious about how they want to earn their living going forward, start a family, get a home, they're leaving it very late to go on to step one of that particular ladder. That's the thesis he's advancing. So what do you say to that thesis?
Well, I don't actually agree with that thesis, because I think that things have changed for a variety of reasons. That's the point I'm trying to make. House prices have gone up so much, rents have gone up so much. We have one of the most educated workforces in Europe. That's a fact. That's something we should be proud of. I don't think that that's something that we should necessarily be complaining or giving out about. But the fact of the matter is, the point that I'm trying to make is that so much of the housing market is stacked against young people, because house prices and rents have gone up way more than incomes have.
Okay, Ray, what about that? This is
years.
fundamentally not a question of education or time. It's a question of affordability. You talk about the apprentice maybe in their early 20s who are earning 60 grand a year. I mean, what can they borrow on 60 grand a year, and which would buy any kind of a decent property? If they want to make the money that's available, for example, in the capital, they've got to be living close to it. Okay,
so first of all, it's about sacrifice, okay? I can guarantee you every single listener here that has bought a house, whether they were first-time buyers, they weren't handed the money from mommy and daddy. I would say 99% of them, they had to go off and make a sacrifice. And what that sacrifice was saving money. And they might have had to save that money for a year. They might have had to save that money for 5 years to get up that 10% deposit.
Most people of my generation would have bought second-hand furniture, for example.
Exactly.
Auction houses on the quays.
That's it. Like, as in, Conor was after touching on saying 100% mortgages. That was only for a year or two back in the Celtic Tiger. And we're not going to go back to them times. The vast majority of people now have to save up a 10% deposit. So there's, again, what we're talking about is the people that are living at home. We're not going to even talk about people that are going out and renting. So the people that are living at home. So even if they are earning €30,000 a year, how are they not saving money if they're living at home?
They might be paying something for the privilege of living at home.
Okay, but the vast majority of people, they're not paying that much at home, Pat. So like I said, they can be saving money. Most parents want to help their children in regards that way. So there has to be a sacrifice. And that is the crux of it there, that people have to sacrifice to save up that money. Again, sorry, I don't know what was the other question, Pat? Sorry,
it was about that question of, even if you are earning 60 grand as an apprentice, what kind of property could you buy?
You can get 4 times your salary. So if that's the case, they're only getting 240,000. But it has to go back to maybe going off and buying with a friend or going off and buying with a sibling. And then if there's 2 people combined and they're on 100,000, they can go off and buy for 400,000 property. So there's loads of properties around that you can buy.
And it doesn't have to be your partner for life. It can be a pal you can buy with.
It could be a friend. It can be your brother or sister, etc. So the way to look at this, Pat, is to get on the ladder. And I think what's after killing a lot of first-time buyers was when we were coming out of the recession there, property prices were so low. First-time buyers got used to going off and buying the big 3-bed or 4-bed house in a nice area because property prices were so low. Now, all of a sudden, especially since COVID, property prices have exploded. exploded. And now they have to go back to it like it was before. They have to go off and buy that maybe 1 bed or 2 bed starter home, whether that's an apartment or a house. And then after a couple of years, trade up, and then trade up to the 3 bed, or maybe trade up to the 4 bed after that there as well.
Or buy your partner out in the house if it's two lads who buy a house together.
Exactly.
What do you say, Conor, to that end of things?
Well, look, Pat, I would say that the average house price now, for example, in Dublin, the median is €492,000. And if you're looking at somebody on 60 grand, there is a minimum 150 to a 200 grand gap there. And I think the whole idea that you say buy with a friend, buy with a sibling, I think that actually gets to the nub of my point here, because I don't think people your age were expected to go off and buy with a sibling or buy with a friend. Like, I remember my parents bought their first house at the age of 24 on 2 what I would call very average industrial wages. And look, I am lucky enough, I was able to buy a house myself at the age of 28. I did make sacrifices, of course, I acknowledge that. But at the same time, if you're stuck at home living with your parents and house prices are going up by more than 10% every single year, as they are in Limerick at the moment, you haven't got a hope in hell. You're chasing the tail of a market that you cannot catch.
Conor, you're a politician. What's to be done?
Well, I think what we need is a critical supply of social and affordable housing. We have the Housing Commission report gathering dust on a shelf nearly 2 years now. There's a deficit there of 250,000 homes. We need to build them, and the state needs to take a much more active role. And that starts with government meeting their social and affordable housing targets, which they're going to miss this year, again, by about 2,500.
Yeah, the problem is that they don't have the apprentices to become the sparks and the brickies and all the rest to build those houses. There is a shortage of labour in the economy, in spite of what the CIF will tell us. They're exporting jobs to other countries, but they're not the ordinary, bread and butter worker. They're the kind of the high-tech builders who are being exported.
And that's why, Pat, I want to see this issue of sub-minimum wages for apprentices dealt with. So to allow people who are in other, say, jobs, who might have good jobs in manufacturing, to retrain and reskill at a point when they might be slightly older.
Last words to you, Ray.
I think we have to change it because it's not working. If you look at the last 15 years where there is more people going into third level education, the average wage in Ireland is 44,000, Pat. So that's a fact.